Welcome, everyone. My name is Michael Hirsch. Welcome to Create an AI Agent to Stop the Feature Request Madness. I've got 18 slides, plus I've got to build an agent all in less than 27 minutes. So here we go. As always, if you've joined any of my previous lightning lessons, I will be done within the 30 minutes, but I will stay online for as long as there are questions. So if you have questions and you want to stick around a little longer, by all means do. I will stick around for as long as there are questions. Does this look familiar to anyone? I know it did for me. I've experienced that and felt that many, many times in my career. The feature request chaos, as I'm sort of calling it. I'm curious, right? And maybe answer in the chat if you'd like, but how many hours a week do you spend clarifying incoming feature requests? What did you mean by that? Does it work like this or like that? Why do they need that? How many emails or Slack messages go back and forth between you and the person requesting the feature, trying to figure it out, trying to clarify? How often do you have to get on a call to understand because emails and chat's not working? All right, let's jump on a call and let's sort this out. And the secret here, not the secret, I guess, the sort of, dirty little detail in here, right, is that this productivity killer, and it is a productivity killer, right, because it completely interrupts your context and forces you to sort of, context switch all the time. But it grows with team size and with company growth, right? It doesn't get better, it gets worse. So I want to tell a little story about a product leader I have worked with in the past. Her name is Sarah. Not really, but we'll call her Sarah just to kind of keep identities away. And that's not an actual picture of her. Um, and Sarah was spending, between her and her other team members, they were spending probably close to 5 to 7 hours a week on clarifying incoming feature requests and constantly getting interrupted during focused work. These meetings were piling up in terms of clarification and all this stuff. And the team was starting to get really frustrated, not only with all this time they were spending, but also with this constant being asked repeatedly the same question over and over again. And as a result, with all the time they were spending and focusing on supporting, mostly in this case, sales feature requests, they were starting to slip. They were starting to miss opportunities. They were starting to miss deadlines, and they were starting to be backlogged in terms of their response, and it became an issue. And so, this was sort of kind of how Sarah looked when I first worked with her. And what I want to pose the question to all of you here today, and that's kind of what our lightning lesson is all about, is what if the solution wasn't better training or more documentation, right? But what if an AI agent can handle that first line of defense, right? It can't handle everything. AI is not going to replace us product managers, but it is going to allow us to be a little bit more selective about when we get engaged and when we get involved. So let's talk before I jump into the demo about some demo essentials. Um, I'm just checking here. Sorry about that, folks. All right, making sure we're all good. Okay, just checking on some of this stuff here. Also, by the way, if you have questions and you want to put them in the chat, by all means, you can do that. And as I have a chance and as I see them go by, I'll try to respond. But then at the end, I'll definitely respond to those too. Okay, so before we jump into the actual live demo, I got to set a few things up first, right? So let's establish some product context, okay? So I'm doing this based on a fictional company, right? So I'm not going to use actual real live proprietary data, but imagine Care Connect. We all now work for Care Connect. We're all product managers, and it's an electronic health record system. Our customers are primarily hospitals and medical practices, and our software allows them to manage patient information, scheduling, and billing. Okay, simple enough. I'm starting with a feature evaluation rubric. So this is important, right? Because this is sort of how we measure kind of what determines what do you consider a good feature request. And there's 19 criteria on here, and that's a lot, and I get that. But essentially, a good feature request is going to have most of this. It may not have all of this, but it's going to have basic information, right? It's going to have business context. What's the reason for this? What's the context and the business for this additional feature? It's going to have some requirements. How is this feature going to work? What's the expectation? We need some market information. If this is a salesperson coming in, what customer's asking for it? Are there deals that are depending on this feature? And we need implementation considerations, right? Like, do you need this next year? Do you need this last week? What do we got here? Are there other dependencies that you're hearing about, you being the feature requester? And then finally, we need some level of priority indication. Is this urgent? Is this nice to have? Things like that. So this rubric, you'll see I'm going to use word for word from here in our prompts that we're going to get into in a moment. I need to have a sample good feature request. This is small, so you may not be able to read it, but this is an email from a fictional enterprise account manager at our company named Morgan. And it's a great feature request. It's got details. It tells us about the customer. It tells us about what they're looking for. It tells us about the deal opportunity that's sort of on the table as a result of us getting this done. It talks about competition. Are other competitors of ours? Do they have this feature? Etc. This is the dream feature request that we'd love to always get, but rarely ever do. And on the flip side, here's the feature request I always got, the bad feature request. Hey, just off a call with Northwest Medical, they want some kind of medication reminder feature. Apparently, patients forget to take their meds and doctors are annoyed about it. They mentioned that some other EHR systems already have this, so we're behind. Can we add this to the roadmap? Their contract is up for renewal later this year, so this is important, right? And you know this email. If you ignore it, it's going to escalate, but you can't really do anything with it. So you got to get on the phone or go back to Thomas in this case and get some more clarification. Let's talk tooling for a quick minute. I'm going to use relay.app. This is the AI agent tool or platform that I've been using for the last few weeks or so. And I love it. It's incredibly powerful, incredibly easy to use, and will allow me to connect to a whole host of different Gen AI LLMs, Claude, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Gemini, and more. So we'll see that in a moment. And last but not least, let me just kind of snapshot a little bit of what the flow chart of this agent's going to look like. So we have a visual kind of mental model of this, and then we're going to go build. Feature request is going to come in via email. Now I'm just choosing that because that's just the way I've chosen to do this as part of the demo. This could come in as a result of somebody adding a row to a Google Sheet. This could come in as somebody adding some sort of something to a database. There's a whole variety of ways that we could trigger this. The first step before any human looks at it is AI is going to review it and score it based on that 19 set of criteria that we showed, that rubric I just showed a few minutes ago. If it scores greater than or equal to 80%, then it's going to pass it along to product management, and it's going to say thank you to the salesperson and say it's been accepted and we'll look into it and get back to you. If it scores less than 80%, we're not going to waste any product manager's time. We're going to bounce it right back to the salesperson, but we're going to give them some indication of the kind of information we need, right? So, hey, we need more information. Can you provide this? So we're going to automatically do that. All right, let's go ahead and build. Let me switch sharing real quick. Give me a second here. I want to just do one other thing, which is ensure that oh, there was a way to do this. I apologize. Zoom has changed some things around on me. There we go. Spotlight, make sure that's done, and share. We're going to share, and we're going to do all this in the browser. Okay, excellent. All right, so here's relay.app. This is sort of my homepage where I've got everything. And what we're going to do today is we're going to create a new workflow. So let me clear out some windows that are on top of this for me on my screen. All right, new workflow. Okay, so I'm going to just call this workflow uh, stop the bad feature requests. Something that'll make sure I know what it's about and what it's doing. All right, and then I'm going to let's just give it a little a nice little emoji indicator. Okay, here we go. Um, Windows. Apologize. Okay, so we've got our workflow started. Let's do a trigger. So our first trigger, or our trigger, is we're not going to run it based on an app. We're not going to run it manually scheduled. We're going to do it by a mail hook. So this unique email address is created, right? So we're going to make sure we know what that is in a moment. And we're going to allow emails from any sender. So frankly, if you guys want to test it and you want to grab this and hit it, you can. And that's what's going to initiate this and start it. And the output will be whatever the email that comes in. So let's go ahead and add our first step. Our first step, as I mentioned, is going to be an AI step, right? And we're going to prompt a model. We expect to come out with some structured data because remember, we need a completeness score. Yeah. So we're going to actually use, if you look over here, these are all the different models we can call. For this specific one, I'm just going to go ahead and use 3.5 haiku, okay, which is pretty good, very good actually, but not insanely expensive in terms of AI credits used. So we're going to prompt 3.5 haiku. And let me copy and paste the prompt and we'll talk about it right now. So this is the prompt I had queued up and here it is. So you're an AI assistant specialized in evaluating product feature requests from sales teams. Your role is to analyze, evaluate them, calculate an overall completeness score. Value should be between 0 and 1. Please output the name of the feature and then assess it against these criteria. And this is that rubric that I showed on that previous slide. Okay, so what are we expecting to get? Well, we're expecting to get a number that's going to be our completeness score. Okay, and we're expecting to get some text that's going to be our feature name. Okay, good. So that's that. Should somebody review it? Nope. This is all going to be automated. If it can't generate a valid input, hit me with a flag and error and let me know about that. Okay, and what we need to provide this is the email itself, right? So we have to add this data to the prompt, and it's going to be the email from step one. So the email from step one will be added to this prompt on that first step. Okay. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to go into a path. And this path is going to be whether or not the completeness score is above or below 80%. So for this first path, we're going to say completeness is greater than or equal to 80%. Okay? And the rule is going to be that the output of this step two, specifically the completeness score, right, has to be greater than or equal to 0.8. And then else it's going to go this way, and we'll just label this so we're able to see what we're doing. Completeness is less than 80%. Now I'm using 80% just because that's a number I felt like using. I could use 90, I could use 70, wherever the threshold you want it to be. I could easily change that simply by changing this value right here. Okay, so we now have a path, and let's go with the happy path first, right? So if it's greater than, right, we are going to add a step in here, and this is going to be an AI step. So we're going to ask the model to do a little bit more work now. We're going to stick with the same model of 3.5 haiku. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it the following prompt. Copy paste. All right, here it is. Based on the feature request attached and the evaluation criteria below, please generate a confirmation message that I can send back to the person who initiated this feature request. The response should be something like, thank you for your comprehensive feature request for insert feature name. Based on our evaluation, it contains sufficient information to be routed to the team. We appreciate the detailed information provided particularly and highlight a strength of the request. And I love this because this is actually positive reinforcement, right? Let's reinforce the good behavior so we get them to do it more and more often. So your response should only include the body of the email because I'm going to send it directly as an email. I'm not even going to copy paste or anything. And then I include the evaluation criteria, the rubric again. So what do I need to pass along? Well, I need to pass along the email request. Yeah. And I also need to pass along, I don't think anything else actually. Do I need to pass along, well, we can go ahead and pass along the feature name as well. So we're going to pass the feature name and the email along with this. We're expecting is just text, not a structured text. And let's just go ahead and make it rich text. So if it wants, it can do some bold and bullets and whatnot. And nope, nobody needs to review it. And if you can't generate an output, then go ahead and give me an error. And then the last step for this particular path is I want you to send me a mail. So we're going to send an email. It's going to go to the person who sent that original email. So step one was an email we received. It's going to go to whoever it was from. We're also going to copy myself. Okay. That's optional, but we're also going to include myself. The subject is going to be thank you for your feature request. Let's just leave it as that, right? And then let's put in, and the body of this email, apologies, the body of this email is simply going to be the response, the AI output from step 4. And remember, we said it just don't put any text before or after it. We just want the text of the email because we're just going to drop it in there. And let's say done. Let's quickly do the bad path, and then let's run this thing. So on the bad path, we are going to add a step, which is going to be, again, an AI step. We're going to prompt the same model, haiku. And this one, again, we expect text, and we'll do rich text. But let's do the prompt. And the prompt I have for this one is here. I'm just looking for it here. It is very similar. Based on the feature request attached, please generate a confirmation message that I can send back. The response should be something like, thank you for submitting a feature request. To ensure this receives proper consideration, we need more information. And then list specific missing information in bullet points. Please reply with these details at your earliest convenience. And then I noted your response should include only the body of the email. And the evaluation criteria is, yet again, the same rubric that I've been talking about. So what do we need to pass along with this? We need to pass along the email. And then let's also go ahead and pass along the feature name. Done. And then the last step here is email. So we're going to have it send the email. Who's it going to send it to? It's going to send it to who it was from initially. Subject, feature request, more information requested or needed, let's say. Yeah. The body of this email is simply going to be our output from step 6. Let's go ahead and add myself on there as well. And done. Okay, so let's just look at this real quick. We've got an email that triggers this. We have the initial prompt to score it. And then based on the score, we run either this prompt, which is the happy path prompt, and it sends an email, or the we need more information prompt, and it sends an email. All right. Let's actually just not even do tests because we don't have the time for it, and I like to live life dangerously sometimes. We're going to turn this thing on, and we're going to let it roll. So here's what we're going to do. First thing I need to do is I've got to remember, here's the email address. So this is the email address that's going to trigger it, right? So let me switch over now to my email. So I'm running this off of my Gmail. Got something already there that just came in. And here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to send it to that email address, right? Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send, if you recall, the happy email, right? The really good one. So I'm going to copy it from the PowerPoint slide and paste it. And of course, it's pasting it in white text just to make my life somewhat difficult. Gosh, maybe I can do it in here. Are you gonna let me do it that way? No, everyone's now watching how I'm doing this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Edit. Fine. Okay, paste it. And I have all these windows made small, so it's not as easy to figure this out. Ah, here we go. Thank you. Okay, I don't want to switch between signatures. Am I missing the color here somewhere? Anybody see?
You see the A alphabet A under after bold. Yeah, this one. Yep.
Thank you. Gosh. Okay, there we go. Thank you. All right, so there's the email. Appreciate that. All right, so we're going to send this email. I'm not even going to bother with a subject, and let's click send. And I'm going to jump over here so we can watch what's happening. Let's go back to the editor and let's watch activity. There's no activity yet. Okay. We're going to see something start here in a moment. Excuse me, the email went out correctly. There we go. So we can see it's been run or it's running. It picked the happy path. It's calling the model now. And it's sending an email, which remember it's replying back to me. And it's done. Boom. Thank you for your feature request. Your comprehensive feature request for the patient medication reminder system. Based on our evaluation, it contains sufficient information to be routed to our product team. And then I want to see, we appreciate the detailed information, particularly the clear business opportunity with Northwest Medical Center, including the potential for an additional 450,000 in ARR, et cetera, et cetera. Great. So we've got a nice response that isn't just completely standardized. It's got some intelligence in it, and it's going to reinforce good behavior. Awesome. All right, let's go bad path. One more time. Compose. Let me grab the email here. Copy. Signature there. Paste. Thanks to my friend. I know what I'm doing now. And I have to go back because I've lost the email address. Let's go back to edit workflow. And that's this one. Copy there. There. Okay, let's send it. All right, we'll go back over to Relay to watch what happens. This is the first run, the one we did just a minute ago, which was Happy Path. In a second, we're going to see another run start as the mail is going to be received, and there it is. So it's already calling the model. It has determined that the completeness is less than 80%. Good, as we expected. It's now calling the model with the less than 80% prompt. That was fast. And now it's sending an email back. And there it is, more information needed. Thank you. To ensure this receives proper consideration from our product team, we need some additional information. Detailed problem statement, estimated number of customers, potential compliance considerations, and a list of things that we need from them. So we're not just saying we need more info, we're saying we need more info and we're giving them some indication as to exactly what. And that was it. So this thing is sitting there and running, and anytime that email address gets something, it's going to run this exact agent. All right, let me switch back over to the last couple of PowerPoint slides, and we will land this plane with 3 minutes left. Here we go. Okay, so that was a very quick and sort of down and dirty way to do a feature request agent. What else could we do, right? There's a lot more we could do in this, right? We could have it automatically integrate with our backlog. So it takes the feature and automatically populates it in the backlog. We could have it look for duplicates or redundancy. This is one that's always been a pain to me, right? We get a feature request. I'm like, I know we have that somewhere in our backlog. I don't know where it is, but we could actually have it compare it against the backlog and then make the match and respond accordingly. We can have it prioritize automatically. So when it accepts the feature, we could then say, here's the prioritization criteria and give it an initial prioritization score. We could have the agent do some contextual research. So take the feature and then say, all right, let's go out and get some relevant market data, compare it against competitors. And then we can also send updates, right? So we can send updates to the requester going forward if things about the feature change, so we keep them in the loop. And it should go without saying, but there's a lot of benefits here, even beyond just the obvious. Now I've got a machine handling the front line of my feature requests instead of human beings. So we can claim back those 5 to 7 hours a week that Sarah was struggling with her team. We can standardize how we evaluate, right? So it's not a matter of I'm going to send the feature request to the nicer product manager because they're usually a lot more easy to please than the real pain in the ass. We have a standard way that we handle this. Educational impact. We're teaching salespeople or whoever it is, the stakeholders that are requesting, what it takes for us to be able to act on a real feature request. And this scales. Whether it's a team of 5 or a team of 500, this scales beautifully. All right, last little bit in the last 2 minutes. If you're interested in this and more, my course, Build an AI Confident Product Team, How You Transform from AI Curious to AI Confident Product Leader in 3 weeks, is starting a cohort next week. And I've got cohorts starting in June and July as well. And I've updated the curriculum that now includes AI agents. So we will spend at least half a session on AI agents, learning about them and learning how to build them. So transform your operations. My course has really tried to focus on being very, very applicable, but also very foundational. What do I mean by that? We're going to build things that you can use to solve real problems you have, not hypothetical ones. We're going to help you reclaim actual time back for you and your team so you can focus on the important strategic work at hand. And we're going to help you take your whole team through this AI transformation so that it's not just kind of picking up things and trying new things, but we're going to take the whole team through we're going to give you the tools to take your team through a very intentional and methodical transformation around AI. You'll learn how to implement frameworks that we provide. You'll learn upskilling strategies. You'll have some decision-making tools. You'll learn important things around ethical AI governance. And like I said, the next cohort starts 1 week from yesterday, actually. You can save $100 with the promo code Stop the Madness, or that QR code will take you there with the $100 discount. If you're looking to get company reimbursement, absolutely. Many of my students get that. And if you want, I have an email and a Slack template you can copy and paste, and it's in the FAQ on my course page. If you're concerned about, well, I don't know, I think this might be the right course, but I'm not sure. Hopefully you got a sense of me from this session. But Maven provides a guarantee, and I also, on top of that, provide a guarantee. If you come to the first 2 of 6 sessions, so a third of the course, and you're like, Michael, I appreciate it, but this isn't the right thing for me, no questions asked. I'll give you a full refund, and we'll move on. A little bit about me. My name's Michael Hirsch. I did all my studies at UCLA, mechanical engineering, and my MBA. I've worked at a number of different big tech companies over the last 20 plus years: Sony, Qualcomm, T-Mobile, ProQuest, and Here Technologies. I also teach, in addition to doing these kinds of cohorts, private and public cohorts on this. I also teach strategy at business school at University of Washington and at Seattle University. I teach because I love product management, and it really, really gives me a lot of joy. And I enjoy helping product managers and product leaders get get the most out of what I consider to be the best job in the world. Thank you. My name is Michael Hirsch. I'm the founder of Break a Pencil Consulting. I focus on helping product managers and product leaders through individual coaching and cohort-based learning. And I'm 1 minute over time, but I'm going to stop, leave this up, and take your questions. Whew. Um, I'm going to scroll through the chat, see what questions are in there. If you have any other questions, folks, please either put them in the chat or unmute. John, was the prompt auto-generated? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know about auto-generated. I used AI to help me generate that prompt. I did tune it a little bit, but basically it was, a prompt along the lines of, I'm creating a feature request evaluator. I need a prompt that's gonna, look at a rubric and score it, and it gave me kind of its recommendation for a prompt. Ooh, what happens if the user responds to the email asking for more info? Right, so they get this email back and then they want more info. Yeah, so right now, the way I built this, it would probably try to respond. The AI would do its best to respond, and that might be a little weird. So what I would recommend is, you either say, don't reply to this email because it's going to an agent, or you build in some logic that says, hey, if this looks like it's a response, or if it is a response, because you would see it's a thread, then do the following. Does the user need to fill out a new request? Again, I think based on how you want it to work, there's a couple different ways you could design it and create it. Based on my experience, how accurate is this? It's really good. It's really accurate. Again, we're not eliminating humans from the loop, recall, right? What we're doing is we're eliminating humans from the time wasting part of the loop. We're eliminating the wasting of time of product managers in the back and forth of getting just basic information on a feature request. So it still has to go, product managers are still looking at the features and doing their prioritization and ultimately, managing with engineering the build. But letting AI be that front line is an excellent use of AI, in my opinion and in my experience. What might be the cost of one run of this type on relay.app? So I think if you saw one run, it used 4 AI credits. I have to go back and check. I think the free account gets me like, oh gosh, somebody might need to look this up. The free account gets you like at least 100, if not more than 100 credits per month. And I'm paying, I think maybe $20 a month, and I think I get like 5,000 AI credits. So let's assume that 5,000 number. I think that's right. And 4 credit. That means I can get for $20 a month. I can get 1,000 feature requests per month. So yeah, it scales really well. Um, yeah, thanks, John. Like the duplicate check responsibility. Why couldn't I just build Jira tickets using the rubric? I absolutely could. Again, that would push it a little further if I'm comfortable, right? I don't know, that's going to be up to the product manager and the product team. Let me stop my sharing, by the way. So there we go. Are you comfortable with a request that's 80% complete dropping straight onto your Jira ticket? If the answer to that is yes, no problem. You could easily do that in Relay. I'm working right now on an agent that is triggered by a ticket being updated to complete. So it has Jira integration completely, and so you could say write it to a Jira ticket. Not a problem at all. Um, what's a better way to design and run an AI agent that can replace or enhance our current workflow process? Um, Not sure I fully understand the question, Ben. Maybe you can clarify. What I would say is if you've got a process and you're thinking, God, how do I figure this thing out? Um, there's a few steps, right? First is start small, right? Look at, map out your flow and look for places where the hints for me are where there's either a lot of time wasted or a lot of data, and those are places where likely you can start to drop AI in to streamline. And so I would recommend you look at the workflow, you start to identify some places, you start to drop AI in, let it run for a little bit, see how it works, see how everyone's taking to it, and then grow from there. Very sort of intentional, because if you kind of do it big and it doesn't work and then people go, it's sort of back and forth, you're going to lose a lot of people's attention and patience. But if you approach this as a leader in a very sort of intentional and methodical way, I think you can do incredible things. Oh, in my past, we used to push the product board for requests that went into prioritization. I assume, yes, I would have to double check, but I have, in fact, let me just look and see. Uh, what the integration is. Sorry, you're not seeing what I'm doing, but I'm just going to look for, what did you say, product board? Oh, I got to go back here. Sorry. If I search the apps, um, it doesn't look like they have product board integration yet, although I will say the founder and CEO, Jacob, is incredibly responsive, and I imagine that's on their roadmap. And if it isn't or isn't high enough on their roadmap, a little bit of nudging from people like yourself would make that happen. This inspiration actually came from me because of Product Board. In my last company, we implemented Product Board and everyone was all excited. And one of the things that everyone was most excited about was that all of our salespeople, 200 and some odd, it was a very high touch direct sales company, global. 200 and some odd salespeople, all had light access to product board where they could request a feature. And the great innovation was in order for them to request a feature, they had to attach a customer account to it. So, right, so it wasn't just something they came up with, but it had to be tied to a customer account because a customer requested it, which sounded great. But what we ended up with was a flood, much like that first slide, of feature requests that were like, spoke to this customer, they want this feature. It's like, okay, I don't know what that means. You know, can you describe the feature in more detail? Is there a deal hanging in the balance on this, or is this just you want to be nice to them? Like, and it became a mess. Product managers were expected to now go in and triage all these feature requests, and it was a mess. And so what I was thinking, recently was, God, wouldn't there have been a better way if we could actually put some intelligence as that front line? And sure enough, there is. I think. Hello.
Michael, I have a question. This is Sam.
Hey, Sam. I was wondering if Sam H was you.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, so I have definitely worked with salespeople, and I think what you're asking of them is possibly beyond their capabilities. So I think, I guess my question is, I mean, I definitely get the gist. What do you think is a reasonable ask of them? I think like a market analysis probably isn't. Like then, of course, you could tell them, well, go get Chat GPT to do it. Anyway, I just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I understand, and I think the answer is it depends. So I've worked in companies where you're absolutely right. This is like way more than any of the salespeople could manage, and I've worked in other companies where they do a fair bit of the heavy lifting or are able to. So I think it's going to depend on what's the capability of the sales team. I think market research, you're right. That's probably not relevant. But, it would be reasonable to say, do our competitors have this or not? Because they're keeping a close eye on them. I think it is reasonable to ask them, how do they understand that the customer expects this feature to work? Another idea I had, I forgot to actually put in the slides, was um, let the salesperson attach the transcript of the call that they had with the customer when this came up. So now we don't even have to worry about the salesperson interpreting it incorrectly. We can actually have the transcript from that call, assuming they've recorded it, and use that as part of the prompt. So I think the answer is you would want to basically do two things in the agent I built. One is you would maybe want to alter that rubric. You may want to make it you may want to dumb it down a little bit. Um, or you could tune that 80%. And you could basically say, look, get to 70 or 60% of this, and we're in a much better place. And what I would actually do is start where most of their feature requests get accepted, and then maybe turn up the completeness expectation, right? And so you're slowly kind of training them to give you more and more and more information. So, rather than sort of hitting them with this like massive expectation at once, you sort of train them slowly, as you might train an infant to sleep longer or something like that. We'll Ferberize our salespeople. That's what we're going to do.
Thanks.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. Any other questions out there, folks? Could could so for problem statement, desired outcomes, and measures of success. Yeah, for sure. You could ask for, yeah, like, what is the problem statement? What's the expected outcome? What would determine success? Yeah, those are also great things. And so, I try to do this in a way that at least resonates with everyone. But you would want to tune the prompt, you'd want to tune your expectations to whatever specific rapport you have and capabilities of the sales team. For folks who are dropping, thank you for joining. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I always love doing these, and I'm always really grateful that people spend time out of their day to hear me blast through a demo and a bunch of slides. Any other questions out there? There is a hand. Ben Z, what you got?
Yeah, that's me. I just wanted to just wanted to clarify my question. So I was thinking currently we design and run AI agent by connecting the flow step by step, like we showed. So, like, do you expect it's gonna be changed? Like maybe it's not gonna be a workflow anymore, like in the next couple of years or
Oh
months. I
yeah.
don't know.
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. Let me answer this in two ways, Ben. The first I would say is if you deploy an agent like this into your process, I don't think it's a set and forget. I think you deploy it and I think you kind of look and see how it's going. And then I think you can maybe go back in a week or in a month and you maybe do some tuning, kind of see how it's working. And maybe you adapt it as the salespeople get better and savvier and grow from there. But your question about what's this going to be like in the future, I think we're going to see two things. The first, I think we're going to see probably not very far off is I built this agent and it was super easy. I didn't have to write a single line of code and I was putting blocks together. I think we're going to soon see agents be able to be built basically by natural language. I should be able to write a prompt that says, build an agent for me that does the following, and maybe even attach that flow chart or just describe it in words. And it should be able to build the shell of it, if not entirely. And then I go in and put in the specifics. I think that's probably what's going to happen next. What's going to happen in the longer term? I think some of this stuff's going to start getting built into um, a lot of kind of the tooling that we're using. But the problem is the tooling isn't standard, right? I've never been to a company, I've never worked in a company that had the exact same tooling as another company I worked at, right? We used Product Board, we used Confluence, we used Jira, we used spreadsheets, God forbid. We used, and I feel like until there's any level of consistency around that, one tool to kind of rule them all, which I don't think we're going to get to, I feel like this need for connective tissue, this, these agents, this what relay.app provides, is really, really going to stick around for a while, I think. Any other questions? Let me see how we're doing here. All right, you still there? Any questions about anything? Life, the weather here in Seattle, agents, my class. I don't know. Anything? What is the easiest agent builder to get started learning how to create these? I think you used Claude. Yeah, so thanks Karen for the question. So Claude I used as the Gen AI large language model that I had the agent call. So, and Claude's the one I typically mostly use, but there's Gemini, there's ChatGPT, there's DeepSeek, and a variety of others that you can use, and they all provide not the same and certainly not similar, but comparable types of responses. Um, the tool I use to build the agent is relay.app. And there are others out there, Zapier, N8N, Make, and a few others. Why am I using Relay? Uh, to be perfectly honest, it's the one I started with, and it's fantastic. It has, I have not bumped into any limitations. I have not had any uh, issues. The founder and the CEO is incredibly responsive, has created tons of content around how to build agents. So it's like if you want to figure one out on your own, I can certainly help you, but you can also go to their YouTube channel and he's probably done it already. And it's just a fantastic tool that works every single time I use it. I have a handful of these agents running for me already. Right, I have one that runs for me every morning and looks at all the newsletters I got in the previous 24 hours and gives me a nice summary of the important things I need to pay attention to and links if I want to dive deeper. So now instead of having to look at or just ignore, which is what I was doing, 15 newsletters every morning, I get a nice one email summary. I also have it every Friday run and tell me all the stuff I got done in the past week. It looks at my to-do list, what I've checked off. It looks at my meetings. It looks at my meeting transcripts. It looks at my emails, and it basically says, "Here's all the stuff you got done this week." Which, in the past I would have used for like status reports and things like that. But what I use it for, being self-employed is reminding myself, oh yeah, okay, this is all the stuff I actually did accomplish. I did a few things. And it's great on Sunday night or Monday morning to kind of get my brain back into what do I need to start with. So those are two I have running all the time right now. And they're fantastic. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Thank you again for your time on this Tuesday. I really appreciate it. I wish you all a great rest of your day and rest of the week. If I can at any time be of any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me at michael@breakapencil.com. And I wish you all well. Thank you.